All right, so we're going to be talking about a live stream of women, mainly feminists, who want to say of reframing um, sex work into a positive light. So let's hear what they have to say. Here we go.
Are actually opening just Black women in our place.
Amen. So, Goddess Amina, if you would be so kind as to introduce yourself and tell us about where people can find you, as well as what you have going on, and I will most certainly be dropping your link in the chat throughout the conversation.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I am Goddess Amina. I'm the founder and director of the Atlanta Institute of Tantra and Divine Sexuality, the only nonprofit organization, religious organization in the world that centers Black women in our pleasure. I am a sacred sex worker. I do use sex and love as a healing tool. I teach people how to monetize their healing capacity.
Okay, so it's about pleasure, okay? And a sex worker. Sex workers are just for sex. That's what they are for. And a lot of women want to it's like a movement. Remember I told you about Decrim New York. I told you about how um there are people that are, lawmakers. They want to legalize sex work, and it's coming in different avenues, and they want to make this something as revolutionary, something that is um that women could be respected as. You can't. Sex work is something. It's just you're a sex object. That's what you're for. You are a sex object. Nothing more, nothing less. There's nothing respectable about it, okay? At all. I don't disrespect these women, but this is what it is. In a nutshell, this is sex work. You're there to provide a service. That is it. There's nothing you could make for healing and stuff like that. For that, that comes with therapy and mental health. All right, let's keep going.
How to shift their work and use the sensual and erotic energy as a healing offering. And I'm a sex coach, so I work with folks to get them together in their sex lives, help them have better sex, and the host of the Fix Your Sex podcast. Those are the main places you can find me. I'm ATL Tantra on most social media platforms, although I just can't took down my Twitter. I'm no longer on Twitter, so I've backed away from those conversations. And I am currently in Hawaii. Although my practice was based in Atlanta for the last 4 years, since we switched to online with the pandemic, we could be anywhere. So I'm on the beach.
Yeah, how awesome! And we can hear your beautiful background. It sounds so peaceful. And yeah, so before we get off into it, I first want to say that I have had the fortunate opportunity of being in spaces and hearing Goddess Amina speak, and just hearing her kind of speak on a variety of different topics. And I was absolutely awed by her. She is such a beautiful spirit, and she is, so sensual and articulate and beautiful, and all of these various adjectives that I'm sure will reveal themselves as we talk to her throughout the show. I just want to first start off by saying we are we are mandating that you keep it respectful. So we know that there will be dissenting opinions regarding the topic, and that's okay. You are free to disagree with anything that we say, but we do ask that you do it in a respectful way because we're not tolerating the disrespect. So please keep that in mind. And Maz, if you could stay on top of it for us, we would so appreciate that. Danny, did you have anything to add?
No, that sums it up.
All right. Well, I'm excited. So let's jump right off into it. Danny, you want to kick it off?
Sure. You mentioned that you try to teach people to use sex and love as healing tools, but I want you to expound on using sex as a healing tool.
Absolutely, that's an easy one for me. So our sex, there's medicine in sex, right? Sex is such a basic biological function, but there's nothing basic about the biology of the human. And so when we start looking at the ways that the body performs certain things, one being creating a child, a lot of things come into play for that to happen. So every time we move into mating ritual, right, whether it's no matter what dynamic it is, it doesn't matter if it's a heterosexual, homosexual, queer, however your dynamic is, when you move into that space of sex and sensuality, when you start actually opening up into the erotic space, your body starts to do things. It starts to release.
Sex is meant for pleasure, marriage, and reproducing. Pleasure, marriage, reproducing. I don't healing. Like I said before, any like healing. People being hurt, traumatized, and stuff like that. Broken heart. That takes time of sexual self-reflection and being by yourself, seeing what went wrong, and therapy. Okay, sex isn't going to help you with that. It isn't. I'm just giving the cold hard truth about that.
Certain chemicals in the body, you start to have hormones come through the body, you have pain relief that starts to move through the body, inflammation is lessened. So trauma can be healed, trust can be restored. A lot of harm can come from it also if you don't know it.
Trauma, like I said, trauma is something that you go to a psychiatrist for. You know, or a doctor in mental health. That's what you go for to heal from trauma. That's how you get healing. Let's keep going.
What you're doing, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't know what they're doing. So, so it can be a little damaging. So, what I do in my work is I teach people how to have sex in a way that offers healing, to have sex in a way that offers something more to the body than just a nut, or and so that takes us down, down the space. It also in this, and I just want to be clear that when I use the word sex, I'm not speaking about genitals. Genitals are a part of sex. They are not the only part of sex. So that's where a lot of people get really, really confused in the process of it. Like sex is always just so genital focused and then nut focused, and that throws the body off. That doesn't invite all of the medicine that sex offers. And so I teach people how to kind of back it up and come back into the body and access the true medicine of sex. Still make it fun, still make it fine, but that's what we do. So yeah, that's
wow. That sounds so beautiful. Like, I absolutely love it. Let me tell you, I have to say this. I am extremely inhibited, but just listening to you makes me view things through a different lens, and it makes me so intrigued by just everything that you talk about. But I feel like you could, sell me a bridge, and I'd be like, okay, how much is it? So, just the energy. But
girl, about to make me get on the road, child, and come get some
oh my gosh. Now, why isn't your practice open in Atlanta any longer? That's kind of how I'm feeling. And that's something I would never, ever, ever have considered in a million years. But nonetheless, I wanted to ask a question just to start off. I think that, the topic is, reframing how sex work is actually viewed. And I wanted to start out by something like, I just want to talk about what are some of the different things that fall under sex work, because I was pretty surprised, I think, in one of the very first rooms that I entered in at some of the various things that people do that would actually fall under sex work. So, can you tell us a little bit about what some of those things might be?
Yeah. So there's so many things that qualify under the umbrella of sex work, right? So you think about, and the reason why I think it's really important for us before I go down the list, really important for us to understand that there is an umbrella, and that some people under the umbrella, and I always ask people to question your judgment. It's okay to have it, but at least ask why it's there. But some are considered more vulgar or more, lower than others. But I like to leave us all at this even playing field, even ground underneath the umbrella. And some people may need to be centered, placed in the middle because they are more vulnerable, but that doesn't make them less than. So when you look at it that way, then the person who is an escort stands side by side with the sex therapist. The person who is a webcam model or OnlyFans creator stands side by side with the sex coach. The person that is a street worker working survival sex work also gets to stand side by side. And for the most vulnerable on the inside, the rest of us kind of serve as a wall of protection, making sure that we're all visible in this sphere.
Why do you want to protect this lifestyle? This lifestyle is dangerous. This lifestyle brings STDs. This lifestyle brings unwanted pregnancies. This lifestyle will cause women who choose to have abortion. And sometimes those, and it's been studies that say, women having abortion could affect them psychologically. Okay. And this is all with this feminist umbrella. And women, modern women, especially black women, they're all for this, but they don't understand the mental destruction that this sex work lifestyle causes and how dangerous it really is. And of course I'll be called, oh, you're a hater, you hate your mother, and all these ridiculous things, and you're soft or you're gay because you're telling the truth about what type of lifestyle this is and how it destroys people. Okay. This is a very dangerous lifestyle. And you have feminists and, you know, women who want to bring this into light and make this and protect this. This just shows women hate themselves. Any woman who is for sex work hates themselves. I'm just being real. You hate yourself. You're putting your body at risk. You use condoms. It doesn't matter. Condom could slip off. It is not 100% effective. 100%, effective. Guarantee you won't catch an STD. You have creeps and weirdos that will come after you. And OnlyFans, it just takes the right person to find out where you live through hacking. Or your coworkers could find out, and you're out of a job. And it stay in the internet. Anything put on there stays forever.
That we're all safe and protected in this sphere, because it doesn't matter to the person that is willing to cause harm. I'm talking about sex. They want to harm me. You're selling an opportunity to have sex, sexual intercourse, penetrative intercourse. They want to harm you too. So there has to be some collective that we establish here. So there are so many ways in which it shows up. We have somatic sexological body workers. We have sexologists. We have sex therapists. We have sex coaches. We have sexual surrogates. We have content creators. We have porn stars. We have webcams. We have dominatrix and professional.
Porn stars usually have to take drugs, before performing a scene. Okay? A lot of them commit suicide. This is a damaging profession to be a sex worker. Porn star is a sex worker. You're on OnlyFans, you're a sex worker. You prostitute yourself in the street, you're a sex worker. All right? And it's a very dangerous lifestyle, and it destroys women. Okay, and someone will say, "How dare you talk about it? You're not a woman. It's my body, my choice." You're right. It's your body, your choice. But here's the problem with this feminist mindset. You scream my body, my choice, and when something happens, you want to blame men. You know, there's a saying, you can't dip salmon in honey and dangle it in front of hungry bears. Okay? You can't do that. All right? It's just because you know you're bringing attention on yourself from creeps and weirdos. And you're actually empowering those people too. A lot of these women want to, you know, you want to bring these lifestyles into mainstream society, and they want these people to be treated with respect. And you're just going to cheapen women. You're just depreciating women's value. This is what they don't understand. Let's keep going.
Professional kinksters. We have so many ways in which sex work shows up in the world, and and not all of it is valid. All of it is valid. A lot of it is a great way to earn money. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all very valid. And so I laugh because one of the things, it's one of those spaces that that men lose the opportunity to really dominate, right? Especially once you remove the pimp from the picture, men don't really have the opportunity to dominate, and so we understand why it's banned. We understand why it's illegal, or why
it's illegal. It's not because of male can't dominate over you or having a pimp. It's illegal because it destroys families and destroys lives. It destroys women's lives. It destroys the way men and women view each other. Okay, there was a man, his mother was a prostitute, and he became a serial killer. I forgot the name of that guy's name. He was a black serial killer. And he got beat up by one of his victims. The thing is, this lifestyle is not good. And she tries to put it as like men are the reason why it's outlawed because of men. Feminist mindset. It's men. Men are the reason why we can't have freedom. I don't understand this mindset. It's like, if you're told that this lifestyle hurts people, and you've seen it time and time again, and you're told it's bad, but you want to indulge in it, but you think it's because men told you it's bad. It's just about keeping power away from women. No, it's about keeping you safe and not having to be scarred mentally, emotionally for the rest of your life.
So many aspects of it can be criminalized because you're kind of out of the picture, and so there's just this almost this disdain for it. But when you start looking into it, it's really interesting to see where that disdain is coming from and what's happening there. So yeah,
interesting. Absolutely. I absolutely find it so intriguing and so dope that the way in which you talk about like the different levels or how society views different elements of what would fall under like the umbrella of sex work, and how there is like this notion that those who are deemed to be in elevated positions are holding space or protecting and or placing themselves on the same level as those who would be considered like low-level sex workers. I think it's a thing of beauty, and it's super, super dope.
You know what? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna just add to that. I mean, you can even see in just the comments.
There's nothing dope about sex work. It just isn't. I don't see how this is dope. Putting yourself in danger, building a reputation online that if your kids find out one day, you're going to be very embarrassed. Or if you try to you try to change your life and pursue other endeavors, and possibly, let's say, professionally, like maybe being a public figure, this could come up and ruin your chances. I don't see anything great about this lifestyle.
Alone, like the idea of prostitution is prostitution. Okay, right. What is the issue?
You know what? This is what I was gonna say. I think people are so hypocritical. And then when you have a group of women talking about sex in a healthy way, versus when you guys get together and you guys talk about overseas tricking and how much money you're going to spend on this broad, how many of y'all have OnlyFans accounts. Guys actually
spend a ton on porn. Yeah, strip clubs, they don't. Yeah.
You guys don't.
First of all, that's tricking, okay? Going overseas and paying for sex for prostitutes, paying prostitutes for sex, and third world countries, that's low. And that's just as bad. So why would you want to be compared to? Why would you want to compete with that again? All right. Why would you want that? Why would you want to compete with that? Okay, it's like women. They see a bunch of guys just having sex with a bunch of women, and they want to have sex with a bunch of dudes. Well, men are doing it. I could do it too, but so you want a low reputation of yourself? You want to have a bad reputation that everybody knows you sleep around? Just saying. I mean, most of the time, you women don't want to be told that if you had that type of reputation, you don't want to be called out your name. Us men, if we sleep around, we're called out our name, and we have to deal with it. We have to take it. But women, they can't take that. They cannot take the fact of being called out their name, and it's done, and they deserve to be called out their name if they're practicing certain behaviors that are not cool, like promiscuity. It's not cool with either gender. It's not. Facts are facts. At the end of the day, it's not cool for either gender. People do still have scruples, and they still will shame you for that, either just behind your back or to your face.
So this is what I'm going to say to you guys that's in this chat. If you have not been over to Ramil's, if you have not gone over to Tommy Sotomayor's, don't come over here with it. Don't do it. It's not going to be a good day for you. Shout out to you, Karan Williams. Thank you so much for that super chat. He says, this is my type of topic.
What did I just tell you? They can't take the heat. Men could take the heat for doing their dirt, but women, when it comes to what they're doing, they get extremely offended. Okay? Women are more of the delicate vessel. Not mean weak, but they don't like that. Modern women who want to have equality, they really want the trimmings of being a person that can freely have sex with whoever they want, but they don't want to deal with the shame or the consequences of being called out for doing such activities. And she just proved that.
Okay. Shout out to you. Thank you so much. Shout out to you, Concrete. Thank you so much. And shout out to Miss China White for the super chat. She says, much support, ladies. Thank you so much. Yeah, but and so what I wanted to ask, Goddess Amina, when you have men also participating in sex work, do you think that would actually help normalize the culture? Since you have a rise of men that are, of course, they've always been in porn. They've always kind of had, like, they've been gigolos or male escorts. Now you see them in OnlyFans and sites like that. Do you think that'll help normalize the culture?
I think as long as we center whiteness as rightness, then sex will always be demonized. And so I don't think it will matter so much about men or women being at the forefront, because men will never move as far forward as women will in sex work. It's just not the desire isn't there. Dick is it's way too easy to get in these streets. So and there's way too many people that are willing to accept mediocrity in sex and don't have a desire or in penis sex especially, and don't have a desire for anything greater or more expansive. So I'm going to start open with that. Like, I don't think that will shift anything I do think that that as we start to witness this.
She is right about that. I mean, the desire for women is a lot more than for men, and let's just put it this way: there's a lot of women in this world, um, very few men, but a lot of women in this world. There's more women in this world than men, and the fact of the matter is, you know, but the thing is like it's very, for men to actually get to have sex with a woman, that takes a lot of work. That's basically it. And that's just how it is. And that's where women have the advantage when it comes to this desire and sex work. But it's desire, but the women are looked upon as pieces of meat when it comes to sex work. And it's sad that liberal women cannot understand that, and they want this to be normalized. This is just delusional, but this is the society we live in.
This revolution, though, of sex work, we have an opportunity.
I don't see a revolution. This is change for the worst. Okay, this is not change for the better. This is change for the worst. This sexual revolution for women, like empowerment. There's nothing empowering about selling yourself or being on OnlyFans or being a stripper or a porn star. There is nothing empowering about it. Again, you put yourself in a way to be open up to psychological trauma. You put yourself in a position to be stalked. You put yourself in a position to be hunted down by predators. You put yourself in a position to be shamed by other people, unplanned pregnancies, and abortions. I don't see how this is empowering. And the fact you could end up with being with a scumbag. And all scumbags are like creeps and, ugly people. They're people who look fine, beautiful women who are scumbags, and they're handsome men who are scumbags. Still scumbags. Except with those beautiful people who have attractive features that could do a lot more damage.
To decenter whiteness and actually start asking questions. Why do you think it's dishonest work? I saw somebody write something about honest work. What you work for Amazon, this company is raping countries. You have an iPhone, this company is destroying communities and has child labor building bone in your hand. Who has told you what is right and what is not right? And how you come up with this as your understanding? You have to challenge the way that you've allowed whiteness and white colonialists.
Here we go now. Because this is how they go. I see it now, that when it comes to these woke people, anything that is, when you say things like, okay, sex work is damaging to the body, it damages women, it harms them, it puts them in harm's way. Well, who told you that? That must be the white man. That's the white man's logic. So the thing is like, so it must be black to have multiple partners, risk of STDs, unwanted pregnancies. Is this what we're supposed to do? What is that? I mean, why does morality have a color to it? I just want to know, why does morality have a color to it? It seems that way. It seems that to be black, I must be immoral. Okay. I must do things that are not conducive to the country I live in. Now, in Africa, when they have tribes and they have people dating more than one wife, obviously those people belong to somebody who has the money and the resources to have multiple wives and have children. Now, I do believe that polygamy doesn't help families. It hurts them, especially hurts the kids, because as we can see in all cultures, when it comes to polygamy, when it comes to polygamy, there's infighting, there's jealousy, there's strife, and there's also warfare. War usually breaks out among tribes and of people. Say if the king dies, and now the children want to fight for the throne and the inheritance, and now everybody's dragged into wars. It's happening in all different ethnic groups. Okay. You can't really say it's a white people thing. It's not. It's a morality thing.
Theory. You have to challenge the way that you've allowed puritanical society to shape the way that you think. Now that is the revolution.
Absolutely. And it's so fun. I love everything you said. I should have been clapping. But it's so interesting that, people can play morality police on things that they deem immoral, but, there are things that they do in their own lives that someone else may look at and say that that it's immoral. But I think you hit the nail on the head that we are essentially, I almost feel like as Black people, like we are kind of, I guess for lack of a better term, kind of racing to be the first to like demonize someone else for something that they're doing, because we as a people have been demonized in this country for hundreds of years. So it's kind of like, well, I'm not as bad as that person, kind of like that mindset that seems to be pervasive in a lot of our people, and I notice it quite often. I'm sorry, Danny, did you ask another one? Is it on me?
No, it's on you, Don.
Okay. So I guess I'm sorry, I have a whole list of questions. I guess I wanted to talk about, you hit on something that was akin to like financial freedom in sex work. And I recently joined one of your clubhouse rooms where you kind of talked about this topic, and I found it so intriguing. It was such a dope conversation, and I was, happy to be in the space. But I wanted to know if you can kind of expound on what financial freedom, through sex work could look like, and how that could be beneficial to women and specifically Black women.
Absolutely. And I think there's been so much change in the last.
Imagine having entrepreneur classes in college now. Oh, my bad. In what is it? Yeah, I believe in Ohio State University right now, they're having OnlyFans courses. Okay. In Britain, college students are taking on OnlyFans, getting accounts to pay for college tuition. Now, imagine that. Okay. How many of you have daughters? Okay. And imagine, one of your family members suggesting that she should do OnlyFans as entrepreneurship. Imagine that as a college course. Okay. Think about it. A college course. Or worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, high school. Okay. Financial freedom and OnlyFans. How many of you are okay with that as parents? How many of you are okay with that? I just want to know, show of hands, who is okay with their daughter or their daughter basically doing OnlyFans? Any show of hands? Financial free, especially in the Black community. Who's okay with that? In the Black community, who's okay with, one day some woman who, God forbid, goes to your church or some auditorium in your kid's high school or college and has a soapbox to talk about the financial freedom of being on OnlyFans, the financial freedom of being a sex worker. Hmm? How many of you parents are okay with that? Oh, it's coming down the pipe. It will come. It will get to that point. How many of you are okay with that? I just want to know a show of hands. That's all.
Year because so much has moved to digital. So we've witnessed of a lot of Black women actually becoming, really financially independent through sex work. We see it. I mean, I have a lot of friends who were strippers, and they have also gained. Some of them also have gained financial independence through their work. I
Question: when they're on a date, can they tell their man that they love? So, what do you do for a living? Oh, I do OnlyFans. I'm a stripper. Porn star. I do OnlyFans. Question: would you want your son to date a sex worker? I just want to know. Black men out there, would you want your son to date a sex worker? Would you want your daughter-in-law to be a sex worker? Think about this now. There's a saying. Whatever you have, be proud of what you have, but also be proud of how you got it. Just saying.
really believe that this has always been and always will be, unfortunately, likely a heavy way of keeping women into a certain category. As long as this thing that is of high value, that can be protected, should be enjoyed, should be cherished. It's such a beautiful part of our human existence is put in a corner and not allowed, and we see women not showing up fully as themselves in so many other ways. And then we spend our time. Here's the kicker, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm just gonna put this out there. I'm saying this as a married woman, a woman who can easily get rings still to this day. My husband is fine, and so are my ex-two husbands. Marriage ain't that hard, y'all, but we are being told repeatedly that this is something that we must work hard to attain. Right? It's really hard to get somebody like you. You have to have this type of a body count and this type of thing. So we remove the autonomy of the woman so that she can perhaps move into a space where marriage, which at the time of its true prescription, was meant to protect a certain way of a certain communal way of life that we don't even witness anymore. So it's all very confusing. It's all very confusing. Who buys the ring, and do you keep the ring, and then who works and who's paying in on it, and how many women that we witness today through education and quote unquote financial independence in the workforce are excited to move into these dynamics where they're now forced to, and yes, I'm using the word forced because that's what modern marriage is still doing, forcing them to bear children and then cook and clean, raise the children, and then go to work.
Hold on a minute. What is this? What is this? No one's forced into marriage. Okay? Women today can choose who they want to marry or even be married at all. Okay, the feminists always love to bring back in the day when women didn't have any rights. Okay, they couldn't choose who they want to marry. They couldn't own property. We're not in those times anymore. So you're using that as a backdrop to justify sex work. What you don't understand is that you're proving why it was a good thing, for women to be in those old school structures. Now, I'm not saying women shouldn't work. I believe women. I have no problem with a woman working. But when you want to be, but when you want to be, into the sex worker, where you're getting pregnant and again getting STDs, all right, having a kid that you do not want, or worse, having an abortion, okay, that is not a healthy way to live. Okay? Feminism and this sex work teaches women to degrade themselves and think and blinds them with the delusion of their self-empowerment. Self-empowerment is about independence. Self-empowerment is about empowering yourself to do great things. Being a sex worker is not a good thing. It degrades women and devalues women.
How is that honest? How is that deliberately? How is that? How does that
some feelings?
I'm always gonna hurt some feelings with that one, but that's the reality. How does that look like wellness? How are we thinking about the wholeness of the woman? Or are we so quick to critique the other side because we don't want anything to do with that? So when you look at financial independence and freedom, how we are able to liberate ourselves from that space, it looks a lot of different ways. It does not, to me, it does not look like me going to work for, or the women that I work with, looking at them to go and work for a corporation that means them harm, and they have to deal with repeated microaggressions. It looks like them actually being able to make conscious decisions on who they want to sexually engage with and how, what that looks like for them. Not modeling sex that they've witnessed in porn, or the sex that these men are bringing from their 7th grade locker room conversations and still trying to use on a woman in her 30s. That's the reality, right? She gets to now say, this is the kind of sex that I want to have. You ain't got to buy that from her, but that's where this freedom is. It's a certain level of independence, a certain level of freedom that you really get to experience. And it's not for everyone. It's never, but no work is for everyone. It's all work. I'm not going in the fields. I'm not working at a fast food restaurant. I'm not gonna drag the person that does though. That's still work, right? I'm not going to do that. You don't have to do this. You don't have to move into sex work. But what you will do is respect the sex worker, or at least in my presence, like that's just what it is, right? So I'm always.
This is the problem. Sex work is not something to be respected. So you can't expect people to respect something that is just the person puts themselves to be objectified. This is another thing with feminism. We scream all day about being objectified as a piece of meat, yet you want to praise an occupation where you are a piece of meat. That you're an object of a person's deluded desire, perverted desire, and to be discarded after they get what they want. You can't. It's like people, when it comes to this sex work stuff, you see doo-doo and you're trying to spray perfume on it and to give it a nice sweet aroma, yet the smell of the doo-doo will erase the perfume of that aroma you sprayed on it in a couple of seconds. Okay, this is what they try to do with these alternative lifestyles and this sex work. It doesn't work that way. Okay, what is something that is just meant to just for temporary pleasure is meant for temporary pleasure. Okay, that's what it is. You can say all you want. Oh, you will respect a sex worker. Who are you? Who are you? No one's going to take anybody seriously who says that, because prostitution is not something that's respected. It's meant for monetary gain and pleasure. Sex workers depend on men with low morality, very low scruples. Because if they had scruples, they'd be trying to get women who don't do sex work. Sex workers depend on simps. They depend on thirsty blue pill men to get money from them. That's what they do. With no simps, a simp and a prostitute go hand in hand. No simp, no money. No money, no work. Hence, sex work dies. There is no real independence with sex work. There's no liberation. You're enslaved to satisfy the desires of weak men who choose a low path of resistance to get women that would actually care about them. Let's continue.
Going to speak up and defend, and also also teach women, like, this is also okay. You can also do this. Let me show you how to do it safely. Let me show you how to make good money. Let me show you how to make good decisions. And the reality is, when you are...
How is being a sex worker a good decision? I just want to know, how is being a sex worker a good decision? Someone please tell me that. You make good money, but it all depends on your looks. Let's say you start a relationship with somebody else. They don't know you're a sex worker. You get pregnant by them. Okay. And females' bodies change. And it's very hard to bounce back from that. Now what? And let's say the relationship doesn't work, and now you're a single mother. Now what? Got to take care of that kid, feed it, clothe it, and now you have to have time to work out and to get back onto that OnlyFans that was giving you all that type of money. Now what? See what I mean? Sex work is not, it's a career, it's an endeavor that has so many pitfalls to it, so risky, so many ways it could go wrong when it comes to this stuff. But you got women who want to push this, and you got blue pill simps that will push this sucker too. It's insane, man. It's insane.
You're able to really live in yourself, in your truth, without having the guilt and the shame. Your money goes further. I don't have to buy red bottoms to try to attain. I'm walking barefoot in the islands, eating from my fruit trees. I have a mango tree that's about to bloom, right? So it looks different. What I need and what I desire looks different. Now, that may not align with a lot of people, but that's not on me. I don't have to spend a whole lot of time there. I don't have to spend people spend way too much time here. I don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about what does not work for you. What I'm telling women is that
I was reading the comments.
Where you're going.
Hold on a minute. I was reading the comments. It says someone calling Kevin Samuels. Ooh, oh man, that would be insane. That would be insane. I'm telling you that right now. I'm telling you that would be some insane. That would be insane. Okay, where is this person? Okay, Ninja Black is saying, man, genuine question. 1, women should be paid the same as men, or the next question, a person should be paid based on their input and quality of work. I say 2, women, men and women should be paid on the quality and input and quality of work. The work you put in, you get promoted, You take certifications to get that work. You take the certifications to get that work. That's it. That's what I agree with when it comes to that. Here we go.
To achieve liberation here in this space. Let me show you how.
Hold on 1 minute. 1 minute. True point, genuine question. What does this have to do with sex work? That's what I want to know. Ninja Black, what does this have to do with sex work? Anyway, moving on. I'm talking to people on my Podbean. All right, let's go.
Be whole, be healed, and use this beautiful healing modality as a way for you to move through this life with your head up, with your heart full, and your pocketbook full. All of that can happen.
I absolutely love it.
Okay. I don't understand how people could try and say that sex work is not the most degrading thing you could do, and say that you could still be shame-free from doing sex work, that you could hold your head up high. I'm sorry, but society hasn't gotten to that point where, like I said, oh, hi, how are you doing, Jane? What do you do? Oh, and this is the first date. Oh, well, I do sex work. Oh, really? Wow. How is that like, Jane? Oh, it's nothing. I have clients, sometimes I have rough days. Sometimes I have smooth days. Sometimes it's just in between. It's not there. Society is not there yet. If society is going through the tubes, it's going to crash and burn, but it's just not there yet.
Who wouldn't though? Like, what woman wouldn't, have it have? And I love the fact that you said it may not be for everyone, but it's important for women to know, should they desire, that this opportunity is available to them. So thank you for expounding upon that.
Yeah. And I just want to say, it's always funny that people like to use feminist as a slur. I am very much feminist. I don't understand why anyone
Yep. Knew it. I knew it.
wouldn't. You can call it womanist if that makes you feel better, if that makes you sleep better at night. That's fine. But I am very much a womanist. I very much believe in and study and understand Black feminist and womanist theory. So I'm also, while I tell people this all the time, I'm not just a hoe. I'm an old college educated hoe from the streets of Chicago.
I'm a hoe. I'm not just a hoe. I'm just an old hoe educated college streets of Chicago. This is something that she's proud of. This is something that she's proud of to say. I'm not just a hoe, but I'm an old college hoe from the streets of Chicago. And she's taking that knowledge and poisoning the minds of women who are impressionable, don't really think about what's coming out of her mouth to go down the road she is going, having a cult following. It's the truth. It's facts.
So just know that when you come at me, that's what you're getting. That's the reality that you're getting from a two-parent household with college-educated parents and grandparents. So what you
Okay, this is bad. This wow. Okay, college educated, and this is why you got some men in the Black manosphere. In the manosphere period, is saying these college educated women think they are men, and not all of them, but the ones that talk like her, they think they are men, and they think they could do the same things as a promiscuous man, as a man who's very sexually irresponsible, and there's no consequences for that. She thinks this is cool. She thinks this is cool. And that's scary. And the scary part is you have a lot of women from her background that think this is great. Okay? Think this is great to do. And you have men that are backing her that are simps, that are just simps. Okay, that think she is the best thing ever. Man, she's telling the truth. Men that just really want, and this is how Derek Jackson made millions, made his money. Because you got women like this who are feminists who really don't want to hear the truth. They want to hear what they want to hear. And then when it gets too late, they cry, all Black men are dirt. All men are pigs. All men. No, the men you pick are pigs. And your mindset led you to be a victim because you didn't want to hear the reality of the situation, the natural order of things. You didn't want to hear that. You wanted to hear how you're great, even though you're wrong. You want to hear that you're always right. You want to hear that whatever I think, whatever I come out my mouth should not be scrutinized or held to a magnifying glass or to be questioned. You want to be praised. You want to be thought as a womanist, as a feminist. Hear me roar. Hear my delusion, and don't you dare question me about it. As a loving man or a man friend would do so.
think you know about a hoe, I'm here to re-educate you on.
You know what? Thank you, Amina. Listen, so she answered the question that was on the table, that she absolutely is a feminist and she owns it. Yeah, so, listen, you can't use that to berate her because, she's unbothered by that and she owns it. So, next question. But it looks like we did get a super chat from Black in Effect. He says the world is going through a transition period and no one knows what to do. Maybe prostitution is an answer to modern relationships. Well, who knows? Black in Effect, it may be an answer for some. Thank you for the super chat. Karan says the average Black woman has a $5 net worth at 35. Yay for financial freedom. Is she going to talk about the drawbacks? Because this sounds like the BS I was told. Well, we are answering questions regarding it, but I do want to say, you guys like to throw that stat out regarding the average Black woman. The article that I read on that was specific to Black wealth, period. It did not specify that this is the wealth, the wealth or the concern about lack of wealth for Black.
I was always kind of offended when someone said the net worth of Black women is $5. I found that very insulting. I just did. I don't hate Black women. I just find it when you have Black men that say that stuff, it's very insulting. You wouldn't want that said about your mom being net worth of $5. I'm just saying.
Women, it stated the Black home or household, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm going to try to pull it up and drop it as a reference because y'all love bringing that up.
When you look at the rate for single Black women, actually, it's not as low as it is for the Black household. Turns out marriage has not been working out very well for Black women. That stat actually changes, right? And as my degree is in sociology, so I studied a lot about statistics. And there's an old saying about statistics: there's lies, damn lies, and then there's statistics. Stay woke. Like there's the reality. I don't know any of these Black women that have a net worth of $5. We're all traveling the world and on property, so I'm not familiar. Tell me more though. I meant about the women you date. I haven't seen them. Oh. People love to throw that out as an insult to Black women. You can't insult us when we're the most educated women in this country. How is that possible?
You're the most educated, but you're talking about introducing a degenerate lifestyle that, even though, yes, it's been the oldest profession, but it's the oldest profession that has ruined women throughout the ages. Some have even committed suicide because they have ruined themselves to such a point that they have spent every piece of themselves with every type of man imaginable. Think about that. You say you're the most... I'm talking about this specific woman right here. Most educated, but you're introducing a form of a degenerate behavior that destroys women. I don't understand that. You this is why they say you could be still educated, but still be stupid. You could still be an educated fool. This is where I see the term educated fool comes from.
Ask a question. I know there was a woman that asked a question about children as sex workers. Children don't have sex. It's called rape. So we're not talking about children. I'm 44 years old. I've been doing this for 20 plus years.
Thank you for clarifying that. And I do.
What she doesn't understand is when people want to legalize sex work and stuff like that, there are other organizations and perverted people, scum of the earth, that want to legalize child prostitution. Because sex work entails a lot of things, even the lowest of the lowest, evil, despicable, demon-inspired people, individuals who sell kids, and they would want to one day ask for the right to have sex with kids and include that in sex work and have kids working sex work. Okay? I've said this more than once on certain podcasts that I have and YouTube videos. There are college professors that are trying to make pedophilia to be viewed in the public as a sexual orientation. Okay? You got these hellions, these evil people who got degrees and are using it, big PhD doctors, to try to introduce that to the public, to the general public, and say it's okay to do this. This is what women don't understand. When this is soon to be legalized, that they want to slowly bring sexual debauchery on steroids to the general public. It's just, one delusion at a time, slowly through the ages. And sad to say, it's going on now.
Yeah, that this is a conversation for mature adults, and I didn't put that out there at the beginning, but
you know what? And I sure thought about it. I was like, we should have said this is for adults only.
yeah, maybe
Like
a couple
people with
weeks
some
will find
sense.
out. But yeah, we're gonna move on with the conversation. Danny, I think it's on you.
Yes. Okay. So, would you consider all sex work, like, is it created equal? And like, if a woman sells feet pics versus selling ass, why do you think it still comes with the same connotations?
Yeah, I think again it just goes back to really I think it goes back to men having a problem with women owning their bodies. Because how did the feet pics become so criminalized? Like when you start really thinking about it, if you have a problem with someone selling their ass and someone says, "Oh, I don't sell ass, I sell feet pics," and you say, "Well, you're still a hoe." Like, how does that make sense? And how do you rationalize that? And that's what I can't understand how that's even rationalized in the mind. It's like there's just not a lot of depth of thought there. And so I wonder when we talk about the what is worthy and what isn't worthy, or what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable, or who's giving you the measuring stick, and why is it so variant? Why is this measuring stick not like it does? Why can't it make sense? You know what I'm saying? So how does this foot model become vilified in this conversation as well? If not, but the fact that she does not have permission to own her body.
And that's what I wanted to get into as well, real quick. I'm sorry, Concrete, because it seems like it's only more when people insert their morals is when the woman takes.
So, look, like I said, again, it's my body, my choice, but I can't handle the criticism. I can't handle the shame. I can't handle the public opinion. Why cry about it if you? This is what I'm saying. You want to be a sex work, then not only own the fact of the freedom of doing it, but own the mockery that comes with it. This is what I'm saying. She's serving a delusion that you could be a sex worker with no shame. I'm sorry, but it's always been shameful to be a prostitute. It was always to be shameful to be a sex worker. It was always to be shameful to be on OnlyFans. It was always to be shameful to be a porn star. It just is. You know why? Because you devalue yourself to be something that is cheap and easy access to. Okay? That's what it is. When men go out there and, try to get a normal woman, it's they earn it through like conversations and seeing where things go. And if she likes you, you guys will, you get further and further along and things happen. All right. Compared to being with somebody who's a sex worker, you just simply pay for it and voila. That's just it.
Takes ownership of her body. No, and it's only when women take ownership. If a man decides he wants to have sex with thousands and thousands of women, nobody will bat an eye. Nobody will ever look at Will Chamberlain and be like, "Oh my God, he is such a hoe." But they will look at Will Chamberlain and said he's fed a lot of bitches and he's a famous basketball star.
Right, he's the man. They idolize him.
Right. Corinne Stephens has wrote. She's a successful author, whether she's superhead or not. She's a successful author, but she will never be known as a successful author outside of who she had sex with and what she did. So,
okay. Here's some cold, hard reality truth. Okay? A man who opens many locks with one key, has a master key. But a lock that can be opened with just any key, it's a crappy lock. We live in a world where men's prowess experience is something that he must have with women. That he doesn't have to sleep around with a bunch of women. He doesn't have to. Does not have to. There's other ways to get prowess through wisdom, experience with people. He doesn't have to sleep around with a bunch of women. Now you see with the feminists, look, this is also a term with feminists. Angry men with vaginas. That's what you see when a woman is a feminist. That's basically what some men see who know about feminism. Yeah, it's an angry man with a vagina. That's basically what it is. Because you want the attention and the accolades of a man who is committing toxic behavior. It's basically what it is. You want a man, you want to be that, have that same right as that man, but you're not understanding that man has his own troubles. Men suffer from being sexually responsible, just as women suffer from being sexually responsible. And the only difference is women cry and can't handle the consequences of being sexually irresponsible. They can't handle it. They want to be excused from it. They want equality, but never the responsibility. Never.
What did you think about as far as women taking ownership and why people are so mad when women take ownership versus men?
Well, marriage benefits men more than it benefits women scientifically, right? When you start looking at the.
Hold on a minute. These days, marriage only benefits men? Hold on a minute. A man cares for his wife, takes care of the children, wants to be there for the kids, sets up trust funds, and builds there for the kids to they grow, and for the woman, saves a little bit. So God forbid he dies, she's taken care of. Who really benefits from the marriage again? I'd say it's women. Honestly, I say it's both. If they both truly love each other, because love is a verb, and they will express that love if they truly love each other. Okay? Again, it's always this image of like men are bad. Men told us that sex work is bad because they want to oppress us. They want to keep us from being from being free. Tell me, I just don't understand it. If a person told you playing in traffic is dangerous, don't do it. Would you look at that person as like, you're just trying to keep me from having fun? You're trying to oppress me. Would you look at them that way? Or would you think that that person has some sense? Yeah, playing in traffic is not good. It's the same thing with sex work. Being a sex worker puts you at risk for a whole lot of things that can hurt you. That's how I look at these people when they say, oh, men saying that sex work is bad because they want to oppress us. Yes, that's right. We want to oppress you. We want to, ladies, just don't listen to them. Let's go into sex work. That's right. I'm trying to say that it's bad to be a sex worker. That's right. Big evil man telling you it's bad to be a sex worker. Never mind the fact of the STDs you could possibly get, the creeps that could possibly try to kill you, ruined reputation, co-workers mocking and shaming you, not able to really look people in the eye. I don't care what you say that you don't care. Deep down, you do care. Deep down, you do care.
Science of it and how we live. Men live longer when they have a woman in their home. Married men live longer. Single women live longer. That's not a myth. That's science.
They make more.
Right. And so I think that longevity, that ability to be dominant, particularly for Black men, they don't really have a whole lot of space they get to assert any dominance in the world. And so they love to do this in spaces where we exist. And so this somehow feeds that. And is it troubling? Yes, absolutely. Is that all men? Again, I told you I come from a beautiful household full of men. Absolutely not. The men in my family support, love, and adore me, and I adore them. I'm talking, and I know that Black men don't exist as a monolith, but this is the reality of our country in America.
Do they support the fact of her telling other women that sex work is good, and that anybody who's against it is oppressing women? If they do, I think they need their heads examined. That's my 2 cents on that. Well, you guys could find a video online, but that's all. I'm going to end it for right now. It's a long video. I don't feel like going all the way into it. I mean, it's a very long video, but tell me what you think in the comments. What do you think about sex work? Do you think it's something to be proud of? Do you think it's something that should be uplifted? Do you think that women should be going into sex work and they should be looked upon as equal, as same as a woman who works a 9 to 5? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Later.